Previously on Oceans of Leaves, our party were released into the woods. This is the first time they've ever actually been able to be away from home, experience the wildlife, the joys of nature. They nearly died. You can expect a lot of this going forward. We timed out with our group, half of them inside a house that managed to shut its own doors, the others recovering around the campfire after experiencing a haunting. Now, hopefully, none of the ominous signs I've revealed from last time will actually be a threat, but let's find out. I'm going to time in with Matt, your group around the campfire, so that would be Urian, Sherwin, Lynn, and Alec, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, fantastic. You have pigeons, you've just collected them. I believe you're going to turn around and go back to the house.
I believe that was the plan.
Fantastic. I'm going to allow you to roleplay on the way back there. I'll remind you of the scenery for anyone who wasn't aware from last time or just needs a bit of a refresher. It is quite a sparsely populated forest. You are in the middle of swampland. You're having to move between tree roots, essentially, to make sure that you are, staying on dry ground and not sinking. The trees are still far enough apart for you to be able to see the sky, and it's a full moon tonight. You've not heard any wolf howls, you've only heard owls.
Well, this is quite a bit different from what I was expecting in the forest.
Yeah, I have to admit, I expected to, maybe go for a couple of days, face mundane risks of death before we start seeing supernatural stuff,
Yeah.
Falling off a cliff or a river, or, oh wait, no, that actually happened.
I will point out that you are still within the boundary of what Gordon claimed was his protection, so the fact that you are encountering something supernatural runs slightly perpendicular to your expectations.
Admittedly, the thing we ran into, I guess it makes sense it was near the tree line, considering it's an actual ghost of a person to do with where they settled.
So not native to the woods at all. That's what you're thinking.
Potentially. Maybe. Or maybe it partially happened because we are in the woods.
Maybe go down slacking.
I have a suspicion that he doesn't really slack. He just chooses what to do and what not.
Sounds like slacking to me.
I don't know, he sounds like he gets around the forest quite a bit. He's probably quite busy.
Then again, apparently he can walk into trees, so...
Oh yeah.
We already know he has one other village he's looking after. Who knows if that's, the only other one.
Nah, surely there's got to be more.
Can I have a notice check from, anyone in this group who'd like to attempt it? As a refresher for our listeners at home, we are playing Fate, so people are rolling 4 Fate dice and adding their skill modifier. The average roll for Fate dice is... Is it 0?
Yep.
Yeah.
+1 and -1 or 0, so 0.
Yeah, cool. So, anything above that is generally considered positive, ironically. And everything below it... it's not ironic, that, is it?
No,
I've got irony
it's,
wrong.
no, it's purely expected.
It's like rain, on your wedding.
On your wedding day. Yeah. So we have a 1, a 0, a 3, and Alec.
-3. Sure. That was totally worth rolling.
That's impressive.
Means something hilarious might happen.
-3. Interesting. Okay, Alec, I'm going to just say you're a bit too focused on trying not to drown in the very, very shallow mud that's around you from the affluence of the River Mersey.
No, why am I the smallest?
Oh, you are, aren't you?
Yep. Oh, come on, don't make this an actual threat.
No, I'm not going to. So we have a 3. That's from...
Myself.
Sherwin?
From Sherwin.
Okay, Sherwin, you specifically can hear the sound of squelching in the distance. It's rhythmic, so it sounds like someone walking through the mud. It seems to be coming from the direction of the house you were heading to.
Okay. Anyone else hear anything? Or is it just me?
No, it'd just be you.
Right. I'll sort of shuffle my way through the group, so I'm at the front. Morgan? Is that you? Edward? Guys?
There is no response.
At which point I'll stop and put my hand out to stop people. Someone's up there. Someone's walking around. I can hear them stepping.
Well, not a ghost, or we wouldn't hear them, right?
Dunno. Who's there? Hello? Who's there?
Slowly draw bow and arrow.
Likewise.
Sherman, are you staring out into the darkness?
I am.
As your eyes adjust, who's seen a cat at night time?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
A lot of them.
Are we familiar with the way that their eyes reflect light?
Oh, flippin' heck. Alright.
Okay.
In the distance, you faintly pick up on two large yellow dinner plate-like eyes, sheening in the darkness, reflecting the moonlight before they disappear.
You did just say dinner plate, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Is there a problem?
Uh-huh.
Just a big one. Approximately dinner plate size problem. Two,
I mean-
in fact.
Theoretically, if the eyes are dinner plate size, it's bigger than that.
Yeah, don't remind me. Did anyone else just see that?
Yes.
Yes.
That was
No?
we'll tell you later.
Everyone stick close together.
Yeah. I definitely finish off drawing my bow, draw an arrow and notch it. So I'm ready to fire if necessary.
Alex sticking close to the two people with bows. That seems smart.
Evelyn, I'll take point, you take rear.
Fine by me.
And then proceed to slowly start going forwards again, towards the building.
Right, the first thing you notice is that the building itself doesn't have the lights on anymore, which is different to the context you left it in.
Yeah.
The second thing you notice as you come round the front of it through the hedge line, the door is wide open.
Well, they wouldn't have left it like that. What is the stone, the what that was out of place with the little the geode in it? Is that
Mhm.
back in place or is that out of place again?
It's still in place.
Still in place. Okay.
Whatever this was, Urian, you can probably surmise that it wasn't the dial gas that you encountered last time. After a short observation of this house, there are certain things that you start to pick up on that are drastically different.
Mhm.
I'm very sorry, Alec, but the plants in the garden have withered.
Oh.
The windows are cracked and covered in cobwebs. The wood is aged, filled with
Oh.
woodworm, pockmarked. It's rotten. There are mushrooms growing in it. There are several tiles missing from the roof. The whole beam structure seems to have weakened. Well, you get the point. It's aged.
So,
Where are the others?
what's the chances that, we find 3 desiccated skeletons in there? Right? High or low?
I'm hoping low.
Chauvin ignores that question and slowly starts creeping up to the house.
Alec, how old is your character?
14, I think.
And you're using words like desiccated.
My character's also a nerd.
I really wish I could teach a pupil like your character.
Alternatively, as an apothecary, I'd like to posit that it makes perfect sense that somebody
Yeah.
who works with herbs and whatnot knows the term desiccated.
They'd also know that it's an apotheker.
Well,
Shots.
I'm not one, so
Yeah,
I'd like
he
to
is.
No,
take
you're
this
you're a
moment.
big damn hero. You don't need to read.
Yeah,
Reading.
You don't need to.
Wait,
it's
I could just-
fundamental.
You're the big, strong fighter.
Yeah, Mr. GM, I shall be creeping up towards the house, towards the door. Bow at the ready.
The wind picks up slightly, but not supernaturally so.
Make my hair stand on end ever so slightly.
The house itself, from what you can see, is empty. There is dust coating everything, which makes it very easy to see where it's been disturbed.
And has it?
Very much so. There are books and pots and pans and bricks everywhere around the room. The table is upended. It looks like there's been a struggle inside. And on the floor, in the doorway, fingerprints drag on the I forgot what you call them. Wood rectangles that go on the floor. Floorboards. I'm an intelligent man. All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
University education, everybody. It's worth it.
2 degrees. Yeah, there are 2 hand marks, like they've been dragged out of the door.
Is that
in the
two,
dust.
two hands individually or 2 pairs of hands?
Let's say two pairs of hands.
Okay. Oh, flippin' heck. Why did you have to say pairs? One would be simpler. So when I'm a little bit inside, Edward, Morgan, are you in here?
Lynn, can I have a perception check? Sorry, a notice check.
A completely blank roll, you say? 0.
Cool. Nothing happens.
Do I
Nothing
hear
happens
any,
that I see.
do I
That
do
was
I hear any-
anticlimactic.
Yeah. do I hear any
No.
response or just echo?
You just hear slight echo.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a house. I don't even say you hear an echo, to be honest with you.
Oh,
Does the house look disturbed at all?
There has been a scuffle.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to say that Alec enters quickly after Sherman.
well, I was just about to leave again. I'm going to go follow the path of the hand paths on the ground. Do they leave the front door? Yeah.
Yes. They lead into the mud and they stop suddenly.
Is there no mark at all on the mud around where they enter?
Yeah, the dragging marks stop and they simply turn into footprints. A single pair of footprints.
Oh, it's as if the person was picked up and carried. I'm going to follow the footprints. In fact, Evelyn, guys, there's some footprints there. I'm going to follow them. Then I turn around and follow the footprints.
Well, makes sense to stick with him, I guess.
Lynn sort of nods in agreement and then waits for the other 2 to walk in front of her again.
Let's go.
We have a marching order, damn it.
Yeah.
Small nerds in the middle.
Yeah,
Protect them.
basically. Yeah, basically.
David, how spaced out are the trees at the minute? I know we can see through the canopy, but
You've been to Lake Coniston, haven't you?
yes.
Alright, you know how thin the trees are actually around there, even though it's quite heavily wooded.
Yes.
They're quite large trees with about 10 metres in between them. That's the density you're looking at the moment.
Okay. I'm just gonna glance up occasionally, because we were warned, watch vertical as well as horizontal.
True, you were warned deeper in the forest, but
Oh,
can
yeah.
you make me a notice check, please?
Sure.
Very well done for taking on my advice. There are those dinner-plate-sized eyes again, right in the canopy of the trees, looking down upon you and your friends.
I am going to do my best to look like I've not noticed it.
The last thing you see as you turn away is them disappearing as they blink. And the shape, the darkness upon darkness behind it, turning, seemingly large.
Guys,
Mm-hmm.
I think we're being watched.
It's not that thing we saw earlier again, is it?
I believe it is.
An owl hoots again in the dark.
It's.
Snap round and look in the direction the owl hooted.
I think it was above us,
Yeah.
trying to avoid... Trying to avoid letting it know that we've noticed it.
Sherwin stops looking up. Okay. I guess.
I
Right.
think it's moved away from...
But we've got to find the others.
Yeah, so let's keep going and...
You still?
Yeah.
Can you still see the tracks? Okay.
Yes, you
Can I?
can.
Cool.
They're quite trivial to follow,
Oh,
to be
right, okay.
honest,
Cool.
which might be a good thing.
You mentioned the house earlier. The house
Mhm.
had obviously gone through the description. You said that the house had, the tiles had gone off and stuff like that.
It's suddenly turned from quite a well-kept place into a very old building.
Right.
Very old for medieval standards.
Sure. Any other thing? Just investigating these footprints were following. Like, how evenly spaced are they? Do they match someone else's size, or let's just say a massive creature?
Give me a survival roll. Or an investigate roll.
Survival's higher, I guess. Maybe 4.
Absolutely outstanding. Okay, the thing you are following is about 6 foot tall, humanoid, bipedal, and has very sharp talons at the end of its toes. Is that enough information for you, Mike, or do you want any more?
No.
Like, is there anything specifically you think you could pull out of this that I haven't touched on?
No, I think I'm good for now.
Okay. So, guys, specifically, more Edward Fennick. I'm going to cut to you.
Okay.
The first thing you realise upon waking up after the blur of activity that you vaguely recall is that your hands are bound behind your back. The second thing you realise is they are clutching your dagger.
Oh, that is. Okay, let's try and cut through this rope.
It's dark around you can't quite make out where you are, but by the time you've managed to scratch the blade along the rope a few times, weakening it, your eyes have adjusted. You seem to be in... I'm going to have to use this word to describe it, and I'm sorry for the memes that follow. It's a very dank cave. It's deep. You can hear the sound of dripping. The walls have a film of slimy water and moss and lichen. And as far as you're aware, you're on your own. You don't know what got you. You just know that when the door slammed, everything rustled, something burst in and grabbed you. You made for a fight, but you couldn't quite make out what it was. And now you are without Morgan on your own in this cave.
Okay, don't panic. Okay, you know how to do this, Edward. Can I feel a draft?
Moving through the cave? Yes. It comes from below.
Below?
Not from the surface. It seems to go downhill. Whether that means that it's actually from the surface or something else, you don't know.
Okay, so the draft is from below. No sources of light? I'm guessing that's a no.
I'm going to say no, but now I also have to think about how your eyes managed to adjust to the darkness.
That would be bioluminescent algae. Thank me later.
No, because that's no.
Magic.
Bioluminescent fungus.
No. Stop trying to make everything glow. We'll say there's a crack in the roof. Sunlight's coming. Not sunlight. That would be a long time. The moonlight's poking through it.
Okay.
Because we don't make plot holes. We fill them in with cement.
Okay, and I'm guessing the ceiling is inordinately high.
It's about 10 foot. It's quite cylindrical, this tunnel.
Okay.
It seems to gently roll down, and now that you're free and you can move into the middle of it, there seems to be a stream in the middle where the water from the surface is collected and is running down it.
Okay, so if this... Sorry, voice. Okay, so if the stream's going down, I should probably go upstream, because that would be where the water's coming from, rather than the place it's going to, and water always flows down. But the draft is from below, so there's air from below. Oh dear, okay, I should probably try and find Morgan, but Morgan might be dead. Okay, not a problem. I'm going to go upstream.
Okay. You start to climb. It takes you about 2 minutes of scrambling up slippery rock. It's not that steep of a climb, but the fact that everything is soaked and everything is slimy makes it very difficult to move quickly with confidence. You're not used to this kind of terrain. And eventually you reach a dead end. In the darkness it looks like one anyway, but with a bit of a feel you realise there is a wooden circular door in front of you.
Okay, there's a door.
Yes.
A door. Okay,
Yeah, a door, Tom. Yeah.
I'm being in character. I'll speed it up. Okay, I'm going to think, listen, try and hear anything on the other side of the door. When I don't hear anything, I'm going to try and open the door.
You do hear something.
Oh, then I want to listen to that, please.
Muttering.
Muttering. Can I make out the muttering with my shit-hot notice?
Well, make me a notice check and I'll tell you.
I've got danger sense, so I don't think that'll give me a bonus here, but bear it in mind if it would do.
It will not.
Alright, so we know he's not in danger. It's a good start.
That was a good start. Oh, boy.
That's beautiful. That's a 5. Very well played. Right. Sherwin and Co. You've reached a door. It is in the side of a small hill. There seems to be a pool of water surrounding it. This is where the swamp gets particularly boggy, so it's quite easy for you to follow the footprints.
Mm-hmm.
Do we go in the door?
This is where you start listening, Edward.
Alright, so the thing that's in there is going to be 6 feet, big enough to maybe carry one or both of our friends. Has claws on the end of its feet. Yeah, let's go in.
I'm not that tall.
Do we hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, Edward?
Yes, hello.
Where are you? You on the other side of the door?
That would seem to be the case, yes. Can we try and
Well,
open the door?
Is anyone else in there? Is Morgan with you?
No, there's just me, but I don't think there is just me in here, but there's just me here.
I'll go over to the door. Is there a handle? Please tell me there's a handle.
There's an iron circular handle.
Cool. Grab it, turn it. Oh, lift, turn. Pull,
Yep. It's a push.
push.
Mr. Fennick, you are slightly knocked by the door.
Oh dear, okay.
Push door with handles, honestly.
I know. And there are your other friends.
Oh, okay.
The ones that didn't get you into the deathly situation.
It is very good to see you. There's no handle on that side of the door. Maybe don't let it shut. Have you seen Morgan?
No.
No, we sort of hoped he'd be with you.
I think he was when the bad things started to happen, but then I don't really remember. We should probably try and find him.
What happened?
Yeah, there were signs of a struggle. Are you hurt?
I don't think so.
Do you,
I was out of it and I was tied up, but now I'm not, and
do you remember what?
It could be worse.
Do you remember what took you?
Unless David's going to say that I do.
It was a tall, hooded figure that will remain anonymous for suspense reasons.
It was I didn't get a look at him, but it was a big thing in a hood. 6, 7 foot easily. Scary.
I'll take a step back, Mr. GM. Have another look at the footprints. Are they coming into the door, or do they go elsewhere?
Yes, they go into the door and then you lose them because it's hard to make out the floor and there's not a lot of mud down there. It's bare rock at this point. This is where the pool of the outside turns into a stream.
Well, whoever it is, he's in there. Or it, or whatever.
Not necessarily. There's a draft. There must be another way in, so there must be another way out.
Do you think Morgan went that way?
Might be another door that doesn't have a handle on this side.
Can we go around? Look for another door?
We could, but that could take a lot of time.
How heavy is the door?
Not very. Like, it's as heavy as dead old wood of that size would be. So it's lost a lot of its density.
Hmm.
I mean, all we need is something to prop it open, right?
How's the door attached to the hinge? Is it one of those lift
It's a
ones?
single hinge. And it seems to be just a pin hinge, which I learnt about from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Cool. Can we just lift the door off its hinge?
If you need to. Probably, with concerted effort. Or, considering the wood's old enough, with the same force you could probably just twist it and break it.
Guys, should we just break the door?
Can't we just put a stone in the way? Might be a bit less destructive.
And a bit less noisy.
Yeah.
It's flimsy enough if we need to break it on the way out, we can.
Yeah.
Okay. If we got a stone around here somewhere, I'll have a look around for stone. That's big enough.
Okay, you find one.
Cool. Throw it in front.
Yep.
So the door doesn't
Sweet.
quite shut properly.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Let's
you
go find Morgan.
Morgan,
Yes.
you wake up.
Terrific.
The first thing you can do is smell a delightful stew.
I'm gonna spend my first few blissful seconds pretending against all other knowledge that clearly, I've just wildly hallucinated the past couple of days. It was just anticipation to march off to my death, be a hero, and I'm clearly back at home, and this is great. And on a scale of 1 to in a sack, what's my current state?
Not in a sack.
Brilliant.
It's all uphill from here. You are not in a sack. Okay? You are asleep on a bench covered in turnips and onions.
I guess that's certainly not in a sack. Definitely. Alright, great.
You seem to be surrounded by veg. There are plucked ducks hanging from the roof around you. You are definitely in a cave. The light is coming from the fire that the very large cauldron that you're aware of that could fit you in it is sitting on top of. There seems to be food bubbling away inside. On the other end of the room, there is a heavy wooden door. This one is a bit sturdier than the last. Please don't spend 10 minutes trying to figure out how to deal with it.
Oh, you open it. Okay. So, am I the only person in this room?
You are the only person in this room.
Is that the only exit
On-
to this room?
That is the only exit to this room. Except for a very small hole in the roof where the smoke seems to exit from.
Oh, that's good. I'd hate to die of smoke inhalation. Alright, pocket a turnip.
I didn't quite hear what you said for a second there. Pocket of turnip. Sounded like pocket eternal, like you had deep pockets, really deep pockets.
Yeah,
Pocket of holding.
I vanish within my own coat, and that's it for me this campaign. I'm gone now.
You're playing the emo, I see.
All right. So,
Pocket dimension.
door. Obviously, the intelligent thing to do here is to listen out for any signs of life beyond it. So I'll do that.
You can hear a waterfall.
For exactly 3 seconds before I realise I ain't gonna hear a damn thing over this waterfall.
It's not a very loud waterfall, but you can hear the sound of water falling off a cliff and hitting rock below.
The door isn't locked.
It is.
Well, that was worth a try. Is it locked from this side?
No.
Okay.
You are locked inside the cauldron room.
What kind of lock are we talking here?
Well, you can't see. There's a door in the way.
So there's no keyhole.
No, so you'd suggest a bolt.
Right. That's more what I meant. But okay, that's fine. Exposed hinges?
No. This is a well-crafted door.
Damn. Well, I'm out of ideas. It was lovely knowing you all, I suppose. I guess start wildly hunting through the room for anything with which to save my miserable life.
Well, there's lots of knives out on the side.
Terrific. There are 3 less knives. Make that 4 less knives.
These are very well looked after, very well cleaned cookery knives, including a large butcher's cleaver. Slightly too large for your hand, but you could probably dual wield it. Not dual wield it.
You mean use a 2-hander, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's completely different to what I said, I know.
On the other hand, dual wielding oversized knives would make me a video game character. So, it's got a certain appeal to it.
We're not playing a video game. You'll see that through the lack of hope.
Let's take the obvious route. Is there already meat in the cauldron?
Yes.
Right, what am I freaking out about? This is just a regular stew. If you're going to put people in it, you wouldn't already be stewing meat in there. Jeez.
There's mutton in that.
I'm...
It seems to have quite a thick gravy. Onion, potato, other vegetables, and how to cook.
And in fact, Morgan is so sold on this newfound realization that he's going to be narrating this out loud. This is fine. What the heck was I so worried about? I mean, I've just been freaking out over childhood stories. People don't actually drag people into the woods to cook and eat them. I mean, I was already in the woods, obviously. But this is just some sort of wacky person living out in the woods in the safety zone of safety, which I maintain is still safe. It's getting harder to hold on to that.
So, everyone else. While Morgan tries to reassure himself of the situation he's definitely not in, the tunnel you're in eventually leads into a very large underground ravine. And the mist and the cracks above that let through glimmers of moonlight that seem to fall down in shafts, you can see small waterfalls where the swamp seems to leak through into the depths. You can hear it clattering on the ground below, but you can't see it. It's that deep. This seems to be the surface of those caves Godan mentioned that the River Mersey drained into. And indeed, most rivers. The undercaverns. You've heard stories of them. These are where the dark beasts on the fringe of the woods like to live.
Well, they can stay there.
Your pathway leads along the edge of this ravine, and along the wall you can see light, fire.
I will, I'm on point again. Make sure I have bow in one hand, arrow notched, and slowly creep my way forwards. Make sure the other's behind me.
Okay, can I have
staying
athletics checks from everybody?
Oh boy.
Not
to
again.
keep your footing. It's almost like this is my go-to. This is going to become a meme.
4. Yes. We good.
Athletics was that.
Yeah.
1 on a +3. Thanks,
Wow.
HD bot.
-1 and a +2. Get on my game.
0.
1.
Well, most of you rolled 0 and above. Mr. Fennec, would you like to spend a fate point?
You know what? Yes, I would. Do I just get the flat pass with a +2 for a 1? I
Yes,
do,
you
yeah.
would.
Okay, I'll spend.
0 was the pass roll. It's basically, can you walk in a straight line without tripping over your own feet?
Can I argue that parkour should have got me that without needing the fate roll?
It's trying to stand on slippery rock, so it's close.
But no cigar.
There is no cigarillo.
Okie dokie.
Mr. Fennec, being in the middle of the pack, tries to put his hand out on the wall, realises there isn't a wall there, he's just put his hand in a crack and felt a cobweb, reacts as Mr. Fennec would do to pretty much anything.
Yep.
Brief panic, nearly falls off the edge and realises, oh, that would be a bad idea, and stops. Everyone could breathe again. For another 20 metres, you follow this side path down. In the distance, above the sound of the waterfalls, you can hear another child muttering. It does sound similar to Morgan's voice, however, it's very muffled, muted, like it's behind something. The fire you have encountered, the smoke rises into the cavern. It is an actual fireplace.
Oh.
There is wood stock next to it. There is a well-kept armchair. Next to that armchair, there is a small table with a plate on it. That plate is empty, devoid of food, but has recently had food on it. It's got remnants of gravy and meat. And in a basket next to the armchair is a lot of wool with a pair of knitting needles. The path will continue further along to another large door.
Just a quick question before we proceed past this room.
Mm-hmm.
Is like the armchair and stuff, is it big? Like enough for a 6 foot something kind of person? Or is
It's
it-
your dad chair, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did everyone's dad have a chair?
Yep.
We're all familiar with that concept of a big sunken chair, or granddad,
Yeah.
or some self-proclaimed patriarchal figure in the family who decides, I've got a chair, no one can sit in it, it's got me butt groove, this is where I live now.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that size of armchair.
Okay. Okay. And there's no like far-fetched question. There ain't like a big pair of boots here, is there?
No.
Oh, okay. Or any footprints.
What are they in the middle of knitting?
A scarf.
Oh.
I will say along the draped across the back of the chair, just for a bit more fun, there is a large black cloak.
Is this where I ask what type of stitch they're using?
No.
They're using a pearl stitch.
I was more wondering where they're getting wool from.
You know, if we hang around here long enough, we can probably ask them. But they come and try and eat
Let's
us.
not do that.
No. Go up to the door. Listen at the door.
Morgan, are you still ranting?
I mean, obviously, they wouldn't just leave knives out with somebody who is like supposed to be. That doesn't make any sense. Which proof that I'm fine, everything's fine. Obviously, yeah, that's great.
I will unlock the door. Is it a bolt?
It is a bolt. Morgan, someone is unlocking the door.
That's fine. I'm so casual about this knife that I'm just holding, for. I mean, people just hold knives. It's like a comfort thing, right?
We found the rogue.
Apparently so. To whoever happens to be next to me, I'll nod at them and motion to the door, and then raise my bow.
It makes sense to be Lynn.
She was
No,
at the
Lynn
rear.
was at the back.
Yeah.
Jesus, alright, then
It's
it's probably be
either
Alec.
Rory or not Alec.
Just for I know Lynn and Sherwin have their bows. Do Urien and Alec just have daggers, maybe?
I mean, you tell me.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Yeah, no, Alec would have a dagger.
Yeah, same here.
As he opens the door, I will start drawing my bow, so that if necessary I can shoot.
Okay.
What the fuck
Morgan.
you expect, Alex?
Morgan.
Mhm.
A hand wraps its way around the door frame and slowly pushes it open.
It's a human hand. It's great. It's fine. Everything's terrific right now.
There's Alec, and a bow and arrow pointed at your face.
Oh,
No one else.
So, I don't think you were that upset with me.
that's
Release tension on the bow.
No, don't do that.
Slowly, whilst holding on to the string.
It's alright, he's only going to fire his bow at him.
Nice.
Fucking
So,
comics.
I've thought about it, and I've come to the logical conclusion that Edward and I were saved, not dragged off to be killed.
Yes, that makes sense.
okay.
Because
So-
if they'd wanted to hurt us, it would have been really, really easy, right? Right?
I was tied up with a knife in my hand, so I could cut out of what I was tied up.
I mean,
yes,
I was
yes.
locked in, which is a little frightening. You know what? I'm less convinced every time I open my mouth.
How about we
We get
talk
out of
about it when we're back at the camp?
Evelyn, you're on
There
point.
is a splash of water
I will
from
spin.
further up the pathway.
Oh, okay.
Spin, face.
Yeah.
A large figure has emerged from the tunnel entrance and is slowly moving their way down to the exposed cliff-faced living room. They move almost creeping, low in their stance, limbs too long for the body they possess. Kind of like a daddy longlegs would, but if it was a person's shape.
I definitely draw my bow.
Urien, is that what you saw before?
I don't think so. It's
Guys,
It turns to look at you and those shimmering green eyes peer out from under the hood.
how big are those eyes? Like normal eyes or like giant eyes?
Dinner plate sized.
Just to give Lynn's reaction, she hesitates and then does as it asks, much slower than Sherwin does.
arrows didn't necessarily work on the last thing.
Is that any way to treat a host? The voice creaks out like scraping wood.
Who are you?
A friend. We can talk about that when I am not being threatened in my own home. Are any of you hurt? I am.
Bit
By
shit.
one of yours. She raises a long crooked finger from out of the sleeve. It's green and ends in a sharp nail and points at Edward Fenwick. That little one stabbed me.
Damn.
Oh dear. I'm sorry.
Tell your friend to lower the bow, and we can talk.
Maybe lower the bow.
Oh.
If you don't, I'll be forced to use other measures.
David.
Sherwin started lowering the bow as soon as she started asking. So.
Yes, Urien.
Could I make a law roll?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Can I have a 2 or higher to recognise this category of thing?
+4, don't fail me now.
-3. -3. -3.
Two.
Oh, 2 it is. Right. from the sound of the voice, the shape of the nails, the way the thing walks, it's a kind of hag.
Okay.
Hags are typically female, though there are male variants. They are considered a type of fae, but only humans consider them a type of fae. Goblins never really discuss them as fae. They don't actually discuss them all that much, so whether they are or not is not confirmed by, word of God, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst we're rolling, can I make an empathy, which is the sense motive equivalent, please?
Yes, that's fine. Edward, what are you trying to do?
Just determine if she's on the level or if she means violence.
It's very hard to read a hag, and with a 2, I'm afraid I'm not going to give it you.
That's fair.
Okay. So, we have Sherwin lowering the bow, Evelyn backing off 2.
Yeah, I'll still keep the arrow notched, but I'll hold it in my left hand, and I'll, if she keeps sort of looking in my general direction, then I'll take my right hand off the string as well.
She does.
Yeah, I'll take.
As soon as you do that, she stands up to her full height. She is taller than 6 foot. She's about 6'6", with her back straightened, her knees locked. Is that what you'd say? Knees locked?
No, straight. Never knock your knees.
And as she oh yeah, true. And as she raises to her full height, she removes the hood. The diplomatic way of describing the appearance of this individual would be fugly as heck. Okay? Her hair is long, weed-like, black, greased. Her eyes large in their sockets. Her mouth opens in a grimace all the way to the edge of where the jaw would connect. There is no cheek there. Her teeth are exposed, and they are all sharp. Her skin is a mottled, rotten green, like a toad's would be, the kind you'd find in the deepest undergrowth that lives its life in the kind of mud that doesn't smell like mud. She is purely hideous and repulsive on a level that you understand naturally, not just from visuals. You can feel it in your very souls. You think she's smiling, though it'd be hard to tell if she wasn't. Her head cocks slightly. Come to the living room. She gestures to the large cut in to the side of the wall where the big armchair you found and the big fireplace was. There is space for all of you to fit there. She slowly approaches. Does anyone make the move?
Hell no.
Keeping what she feels a safe distance.
I.e. more than arm's reach.
Yeah. Her arm's reach.
Yeah, I'll be staying fairly well clear as well. If when Evelyn starts moving, Sharon will probably give it a step or so, and then he'll keep level with Evelyn and make sure the others are behind them.
Just a small thought, guys. Well, it's got really long legs. I don't think we could actually run if we tried.
The one back there is a smart one. Anyway, I have no interest in eating children. Not enough fat.
Morgan has one of those smiles that might just be when you peel back the lips and bare a lot of teeth. You go through the motions, but there is no happiness there. Great.
So hold on. You're saying that Edward attacked you, and then what? Is this you asking for us to make up for it?
But I don't know.
You have a lot to learn if you're offering that in the start of the conversation. I'm simply making sure you're okay. I found children in the fringe of the woods, investigating the home of a Didalgast. And when I came in to save them from the situation they've gotten into, one of them panics and stabs me in the thigh. I had to bind him and then drag them both away from the very dangerous place they'd found themselves inside.
Why were you following us then? The rest of us?
Your children in the woods, and I look like I do. There's no way I'm going to walk up and introduce myself at first, is there? I can't help but notice there are 6 of you. I've never been comfortable with that arrangement, or that thing.
That'd make you quite old then.
Do you know how to talk to a lady, young man?
Evelyn is shooting Morgan a withering glance.
Anyway, we should stop referring to each other as informalities. My name is Guinevere. What are yours?
Sharon.
Lynn.
Edward.
Alec.
Urian.
Plaskett?
Nice try. Take a seat. I'll go get you dinner. I've got stew on the boil. Try not to leave early. You'll freeze to death out there, and you've clearly only just set off.
Does she leave earshot?
I doubt it.
She leaves human earshot, whether that's hag earshot or not, you're not aware.
Alright. Seriously, Morgan, Edward, what do you two actually remember?
Do you want to go first?
I guess. Everything started going. The house started acting up. The fire burning brighter. The door slamming. The wind was back. I think things were rattling. Things got animate and scary again. And then as it was getting bad, the door throws open. And then things get a little fuzzy. I think I might have... I think I tripped. Right, Edward?
Yes,
He tripped and hit his head on the corner of the table. He was a big damn hero.
Huh?
I think he tripped and fell and... Yeah, and then something came towards me, and I'm not really sure what happened after that.
Hold on, have you got your knife on you? Your dagger?
Yes.
Show it to me.
Of course, yes.
David, is
seems to have-
blood?
It
Sorry.
has a thin tar-like coating.
Alright, Alec will frown. Oh, right, so... You actually did stab her. Huh. I didn't
So-
think you had that in you.
No, nor did I.
So, Mr. GM, while this conversation is going on, I will be keeping an eye on the doorway to the kitchen.
Okay. She seems to be singing to herself.
Alec will look a little put out. I thought he was trying to deceive us, but right now I don't know what to do. She just looks at Lynn. Do you think we should trust her?
I think we should have a conversation with her and see what she has to say. She's been here a long time, and maybe things we can learn from it.
Also, she said she'd seen... Well, others of us. Well, not you know what I mean.
Urian,
Yes.
everything you know about hags is the stereotype of what we know of witches. You know, gingerbread houses, ovens, kidnappings. If you've played The Witcher 3, that's the stereotype they have there as well. It's the same kind of thing. She's nowhere near what you know of hags. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, you don't know. In fact, you weren't even sure they could talk.
Just, she doesn't really match anything I've learned about hags apart from, I guess, kind of the way she looks. So, I mean, who knows what's actually accurate here?
If she says she's seen other people who've been sent out to look for the lily, and we know none of them got, eaten, because Godan would have said.
Would he?
Yep, but
Yeah, he said
Oh,
how
no.
far away we. So I think
You put too much trust in that goblin.
Been-
She re-emerges.
repeatedly wrong, but I think this time we can definitely trust it.
It?
goblin.
The concept of safety.
Bad save.
You have
She's carrying a tray with 6 bowls. Wooden bowls, each of them filled with a spoon and some of the steaming stew. She carries them over to you and lays them down on the floor in front of her. There is enough room on the other side of the fireplace for the 6 of you to sit comfortably, away from her, as she sits down in the armchair.
Alec just looks down at her bowl of stew. Wait. Back at our campfire, there were 6 pigeons left cooked. That wasn't you, was it?
No.
Do you know of anything in here that leaves pigeons?
Nothing with any sense.
Like, we're only gone 20 minutes.
6 whole roast birds just left there.
Hmm.
Makes very little sense.
That sounds like fairy nonsense to me.
In fact, actually, I'll pull out from my bag of food, one of the pigeons.
It's like a golden egg.
Yeah. Just a little bit of egg juice, little few crumbs of bread.
Most people call it yolk, Sam.
Because you see, when you get an egg and you just like crush it completely, and you get that mix of the yolk and the egg white, that's basically scrambled egg, but too runny for scrambled egg. It's that.
Sam, that's egg.
Nah, mate, egg juice.
juice.
Either way, I will take my egg juice covered bird. Yeah, and I will hold it out to Guinevere. This is one of the ones they left. Whoever they are.
Very good. What do you want me to do with it?
I don't know. Look at it. Can you tell if it's?
A pigeon? Yes, it's
Oh.
a pigeon.
Yeah, but like, is it from the Fae?
I don't know. Have they wrote their name on it?
I think you might be able to tell. I don't know. If it's...
It seems a tad rude to assume.
Well, I don't know everything.
Neither do I, young man. I know a lot of things, but I don't know everything.
Do you happen to know why the owls are so interested in us?
That was the Didal Ghast.
But
The Ghast, when it's not active, takes the form of an owl.
Hi.
they've still been following us.
No, it's just in the vicinity. As soon as you move on, it won't be a problem anymore.
Okay,
Wait till morning and then leave its territory.
I guess I'm just being paranoid.
Until you dispose of the body properly, a Didal Ghast will come back nightly, even if you fix the situation that kept it there.
Oh, I was hoping that we'd solved things.
You had for a night.
Oh.
The first night it's had in 20 years.
I wonder where the body is.
She looks over the cliff edge. So do I some days.
Yeah, rather than process that, let's just dig into food. That sounds...
Yeah, has anyone taken a bite yet?
It's what I say out of character, despite the fact I said that quite softly. Morgan doesn't understand these grand concepts. But they do understand that if you're eating, you don't have to think about horrible things.
So Morgan takes a bite.
Oh yes.
Guinevere's mouth widens into a very sharp, very bright grin.